Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Well, my name is Aditya and you are currently watching the episode 2 of the interview which I had with Sanjana. Now, Sanjana is All India rank 19 in the Ipmat 2021 IIM Indore examination. Along with this, she has also cleared other examinations. Well, if you haven't watched the part 1 wherein she has described her complete preparation journey, make sure that you watch it up in the I button. Well, in this particular video, she has described the importance of reading newspapers, the importance of giving mock tests, some very important reference books which are to be referred, and on how non-math students can prepare for the examination. Well, without wasting any time, let's get started. So you told about the preparation you did for your verbal thing. So, a question which I had, so that some students, they kind of skip the basics of grammar and they directly jump on to the RCs or the jumbled sentences, which, come in the examination. So what do you suggest? Like, is it uh, okay to just skip the basic part and just move on to like what is actually asked in the paper? Or if one is, starting to prepare for verbal, should he start from the actual basics of grammar and then move on to the other types of questions which are asked in the examination?
I feel if you are very much sure in the basic rules of grammar, you can go into the RCs and parajumbles and everything. But even if you have a doubt, to go and refer to the basics. That's what I did. There were a lot of prepositions kind of questions that arise, but I was not sure about use of each and every preposition. That's why I went and referred to Ren and Martin for that lesson. And there were
Okay.
two, three other lessons which I referred also. So it all depends upon how well is your knowledge on grammar. If you're really good at it, then okay, no issues. You can go for the exercises. But if you're not, it's better that you refer. And if you're going to start early, you have enough time. You can start from the basics, you can brush up your basic, and then get into the exercises. Only if you do not have time, you can go for the exercises directly. And in
Okay.
English, we should not make a random guess like while reading the sentence, like okay, I feel it's right. That's the way we speak. It's definitely not going to work out that way. We should apply the actual rules of grammar there. So it's better if you start early, go through the basics.
Yeah, I would agree on that as well. Next, you mentioned, that you read newspapers as well. So why don't tell us the importance of reading newspaper for clearing entrances such as IPM?
Okay, I'll give you an example. The
Mm,
reading comprehension that we got this year was from a newspaper. It was a newspaper article. I think it was from Times of India. I'm not sure, but it was a
mm,
newspaper article. It was an editorial, and I realized only when I came out. And then I felt like reading the editorials, we get the point of view of different persons, and also one main thing is getting to know a lot of new words. Like you can build up your vocabulary which is needed for verbal ability, and also
sure.
newspapers will give you the current affairs which is required for your interview. You cannot
Mm,
sit in that 1 week and cover all the current affairs that has happened for 6 months prior.
mm,
So
true.
you can keep yourself updated also. That is one thing. And editorials will give us a sense of writing, and probably next year they are going to have that. Not sure, anything can happen. They were
Might
having it
be.
earlier, but these 2 years we did not. If when you're having that, when you read all these editorials, you will get to know how to start, how to end, like how to put in your thoughts and everything. You will get a lot of ideas from reading editorials, from reading news and everything.
Also, as you mentioned, like you get a taste of different types of writing styles. Suppose someone is giving you a description about a event which has happened, or let it be a scientific thing, or let it be a actual business event ka summary or something. So you get a taste of everything ki, matlab, okay, if so and so comes in the examination, I can easily understand the language and what is trying to convey. So that is again a very important use of newspaper. So which newspaper did you read?
I read the Hindu. Like I used to read Hindu from the month of April or so. I read it every day.
Hmm. What do you think about like a review of the Hindu newspaper?
Hindu,
In
it's really good. Actually, we used to have two pages like where all the editorials used to be, and that really helped me. And each day they used to take a topic that actually is related to the current affairs. It does not used to be some random topic. It will be related to the current affairs. So one way you can get to know the pros and cons of the event that has happened. And in one way, you can build up your vocabulary. One way, you'll be able to comprehend that easily, which will help you in solving RCs.
Yeah.
So there are different
Benefits,
uses of
multiple
reading those
benefits. Yeah.
editorials. Yeah.
Mm.
And news also, like there used to be region, like every newspaper has that. And I was suggested Hindu is like the best one, so I just use. I don't have an idea about the other newspapers as I did not go
Okay,
through those.
fine. So a lot of students have this doubt, yeah, question that they don't have maths as their subject, right?
Subject.
So they don't even prepare for uh, examinations like JEE or other competitive examination which require the actual higher order mathematics, right? Though there is a majority of PCM students who apply to IPM courses, but there is also a good amount of students who are not from the PCM background. Like example, you are commerce with maths, so you having maths was an advantage. But what would you suggest, or or say to the students who don't have maths, how can they cover up the syllabus? And is it like, should they be afraid ki quant section mein, you have maths? And talking about the higher order mathematics part, what level of higher order comes? Like, is it the JEE level, or is it the very basic, or is it actually important, or you can skip that part and only focus on profit loss, percentages and those quants topic which come? So what is your opinion on that?
So regarding the higher math, I think in all the commerce related entrance exam, I'm not sure about PCM. A commerce related entrance exam, only IIM Indore has higher maths. Like they have really around 30%, I guess, for higher maths. But IIM Rohtak or Ipmat, they do not have any higher maths, and it's only the topics that we studied up to 10. And even if the people are not having maths in grade 11 and 12, they would have studied maths in until grade 10. That is compulsory. So it is just that we have lost touch by solving a lot of maths questions. But you can definitely bring the practice of everyday solving questions, and you will have to put in an extra effort than the maths students because they are in use of solving maths. But you are not in use. But if you put an extra effort, you can definitely clear it. And I know a lot of people from my batch, from seniors, who are non-maths students but have cleared indoors. And regarding the higher maths topic, it's not really necessary that you should master all those topics because those topics are taken in grade 11 and 12, which is an advantage for the math students, like matrices and determinants, logarithms. Those are all higher maths topics which are taught to us in school. So we know the basics. So if you're not able to go through the basics, it's okay because the other 70% of IIM Indore IPM paper is of the basic maths. Like that is really enough for you to score really well. It's not necessary for you to master the higher order. You can just have a basic knowledge of those, and if it's an easy question, you can attempt. If it's not easy, no problem. We are not attending 100% of the paper. It's just attending the questions that you know with higher accuracy. That
That is
really
more
does
important,
matter in these
right?
kind of exams. So it's really not necessary to put yourself into pressure by learning the higher maths if you are not a maths student in grade 11 and 12.
So your duty is basically to clear the examination, not to show off
Yeah.
this as well. That's
This,
not the
yeah.
point, right? So if someone wants to like start maths, where they can start from? Will it be from NCRT or any other specific resource which you would like to say?
If you want to start from the scratch, NCRT is best because those used to start from the basic, and even the questions that are available in the exercise part, it used to be very basic questions. So we'll be very much sure about the topics. And if you have ample enough of time, start with NCRT. But if you're not, and if you're pretty much sure about the topics, go refer to some videos on YouTube, or if you're enrolled in some coaching, just attend the classes and then start solving some questions in that one chapter that you have completed. Solve around 50, 60 questions only, and until you're comfortable with that topic. Solve those many questions and check the answers. And even note down the time that you are taking to solve each question, because you cannot spend more than a minute or 1.5 minutes for each question. That is really not feasible in these kind of examinations.
Right. That is true. So, yep. And also when you were like, giving your examination on the IPM 2021 examination. So at that time, what was your strategy? Like, was it you get the question, you read it, if you have a little slightest idea, you leave it, you move on to the next one. And if in case you're like sure of that question, you just attempt it in that in like within a minute or something. So was it the same way?
Yeah, actually, what I had in my mind was if the quants, I'm talking about quants, if the quants questions are 7 to 8 lines long. I'm not going to read it at the starting. I'm going to skip that question, go to the next one. And you can just get to know the topic from which that question is that. If I'm very much comfortable with that topic, I will start solving it. And I will maximum try for 45 seconds. If I don't have even an idea how to proceed that question, I'll just skip that question and we'll go to the next one. That was my strategy. And also, like, there were topics which I was weak at, so I made sure that I will divide it into three. Actually, I got to know this method through percentile class 1 video, the ABC approach, I guess they used to tell that.
Okay.
So the
Why
first
don't
one is
you
a very
share
easy
it with
question.
the students?
Yeah, I think first one stands for Abhi Karo, which means like do it immediately.
Okay.
So that is like you know how to do that question. You are sure that you will get that answer. So start doing that. Next is Baad mein karo.
Baad mein karo. Okay.
Like once you're completed with all the A type questions, now go for the B. Like you can try solving it. If you have time, you can try solving it, and you know that you will get the answer, but it will take some time, like 2 minutes it might. So solve all those questions. And the next one, I don't know what C stands for, but I guess those are the questions which are really tough. Yeah, I think it's showed there. Like leave it,
yeah.
leave
So
the
just
question.
leave it. Yeah.
Leave it, because you're not having any idea. Why to waste time? Concentrate on the questions that you have left as B option. So leave all those questions. That's what I followed.
Yeah, that's a good approach. A very basic question, that every aspirant has when he starts his journey, preparation for any entrance examination, as to what are the books to be referred. Like there are multiple books available in the market, but now you having cleared the examination, you have, you might have, from your got to know about all the books from your friends, from the faculty members. So what were those books or the coaching material? Just give a review of that as well. How was your coaching material and the extra resources, the books which you used, and would you like recommend that particular book to your junior? Yes or no? So that as well.
Okay, I'll start with quants. For quants, as I mentioned earlier, I started with the course materials, and it was good. Like we used to have two, like practice exercise 1 and practice exercise 2 for each chapter, which will consist of MCQs. And there used to be another section called short answer questions, which was for the short answer section, but that used to have only 15 questions. I thought there might be a little more questions in that section for each chapter. That was one thing that I found. And otherwise, it was really good. It used to start, there used to be a lot of example type questions also before, where they explain the concept and then example and then the exercises. Okay. So I completed all those. And after that, Arun Sharma, as I mentioned earlier, they explain each and every concept in the book itself. If you're doing self-study, that would really be a very good book, Arun Sharma. And also, I've heard it from my friends that even R.S. Agarwal is good, for the basics. And for Arun Sharma, I would prefer don't go for LOD3 as of now, and it's not really required for IPM. It's required for CAT and not for IPM. Just go for LOD1 and 2, and there are a lot of questions. Like in one chapter, I remember there were 80 questions in LOD1 alone, and then there were another 80 in LOD2. So there are a lot of questions available to you in Arun Sharma. But there are 1 or 2 mistakes, not really much. But I guess that will be one of the best books for quant. And coming to verbal, I guess verbal, wherever you find the RCs, just do it. And verbal, I have myself seen there are mistakes in each and every book that I refer. Like for reading comprehension and everything, 1 or 2 mistakes are there in every book. I mean, that is acceptable. 1 or 2 in the whole book is good. As I mentioned, the Pearson's book was good. Career launches, reading comprehensions are really up to that mark. The reading comprehensions are a bit difficult than to the real exam. So if you're used to solving those it will be easier for you to solve the real exam. So their reading comprehensions are really good. And apart from that, Ren and Martin, you can use if you're going to start from the scratch. And Word Palm ADC is really good. And also there are other grammar books that are available if you want to start from the scratch. And even to add on, there are a lot of institutes that say that the CLAT and IPM are really similar, and I even felt that the syllabus for CLAT and IPM is really similar. And if you have, you can also refer to the books that are for CLAT, because it is just that IPM Indore will have questions at a higher level than CLAT, I guess so. But many say that the CLAT and IPM are also.
Coming on to the next very interesting topic is mock test, right? So everyone should give mock tests, right? No one can deny ki mock test mat do. It's kind of very important. So what do you think on give your opinion on mock test, and also just share which mock test did you give, of which institute, the number of mocks, how many days before the examination you started the like started giving the
Mock
mock
test,
test,
yeah.
and how did you analyze after giving the mock test, and what was your strategy with the each mock you gave? Did it change, or types of strategies that you applied as to like different ways of solving? So give us a complete, a brief thing of importance of mock tests.
Okay. Mock tests are like, it is important. Like nobody can deny that, as you said. So I started giving mocks. My first mock, I gave it in Jan 2021. Yeah, 2021. That was the first mock that I gave. Actually, this year what happened was, until June, we knew that the exam was going to be for 400 marks. But towards the June end, they changed it to 240 marks. So before that, I was giving marks of 400. I gave around 7 to 8 marks, but after that they
Okay.
had changed, so I had to get used to the new pattern, like
Mm.
within some 20 days, 20 to 25 days I had
Okay.
to. So I started giving marks every day, because I was
Mm.
done with the portion, I was just revising. They started giving marks every day so that I can manage the time, because the pattern is totally changed. Earlier it was 40 minutes for each section, and we had 30 minutes this time. So I had to like put myself into that practice. So I started giving a lot of marks. So totally I would have given around 20 to 25 marks. And I, of course, I had mocks of career launcher,
Mm.
and then I bought mocks from ACE-IPM, and I gave
Okay.
free mocks of percentile classes, and then grade up there were one free mock. Like whatever the free mocks were available, I tried to give those. And career launchers mocks, it was up to that level of the real exam. Sometimes it used to be harder than the real exam, and my
Mm.
scores used to be a bit low. I used to feel bad, and then the next one it will be good. So
Mm.
it used to fluctuate. And talking about ACE-IPM's mock, they are really good. Like they are
Okay.
also like, I felt ACE-IPM career launcher and percentile classes mocks are at the same level. The difficulty level is the same. Whereas
Mm.
grade up mocks are, the difficulty level is a bit lower than these three.
Okay.
So this was
Fine.
my feeling. I don't
That
know
was
if
a
true or
good
not.
point. Like it would
Yeah.
have cleared a lot of doubts to a lot of students.
Yeah. So and regarding the days, I prior to the exam, I gave the mock as the paper of 2020 and 2019. I think it was available in percentile classes. I
Mm.
gave those, and the last day I did not give any mocks.
How did you analyze your mock test, and what was your strategy with solving each mock?
So the thing was, the first mock that I gave for 400, I was pretty much satisfied because I did not even complete my portions. I was okay with my marks that I got because I did not start my preparation, so I just gave the mock. The thing is, only when you give mock, we will know how to manage the time and which questions to attempt first. That's when I realized I can start with DI part, because
Mm.
DI part we used to get 5 questions, and that is standard. I guess every year we are getting five
Every
questions.
that's it. Yeah.
Whatever the pattern is changed, 5 questions from DI. So if it's bar graph or pie chart or table, it will be easy. It's just the calculation that you're supposed to
Mm.
do. Even in Indore, you get an on-screen calculator, but I don't think you will get it in Rohtak and Ipmat. But in Indore,
Okay.
you do get an on-screen calculator. So it's really easy for you to, at least out of five, 4 or 3 if you get correct, that is a really good number of attempts for
Mm.
DI. So I used to start with DI, and then I used to go through the top questions. And that was just, as I told you earlier, like if the question is a very big one, I don't read. And then I
Mm.
go for the easy one, and then the little tough, and then the tough ones I used to leave. That was my strategy for most. And I did not start with DI at an earlier time. Only when I started giving a lot of marks, every day I started, as I told you, every day I started giving marks. That's when I started attempting DI first. And
Okay.
towards the end, I was fixed that I will first go CDI. If it's a very lengthy calculation, I used to do it at the last, because they used to be,
Mm.
we should first convert percentage into numbers, and then we used to add all those numbers, and
Mm.
then we used to do something. All those kind I used to do it at the last. But if it's a very obvious DI, then I used to go for DI first.
Okay.
And for verbal, if the RC is really big, or I'll read the first 3 lines. If it's a tougher RC, like if it's a philosophy kind of RC, I will not attend that first. I'll complete the remaining and then come back to RC. But if RC is a shorter passage, and if it's an easy one, a direct RC, then I will go with RC first. This was my strategy for marks. And it did change with one mark. And only after giving a lot of marks, I understood the strategy that I should use, like that
Mm.
I should use in the real exam. And regarding the time management, that will come with practice. And there are like one question, 1 minute for quants.
Okay.
And if at all it's a lengthy question, I'll go for 1.5 minutes, and not more than 2 questions for anything. Even if it's an easy one, if it's time taking, I will stop the working that time. I'll go for the next one. If I have time, I'll come back to that question, I'll complete it, and I'll mark the answer. And for verbal, I did not face any issues in time management because I was able to complete, if it's for 30 minutes, I'll be completing it within 25, 27 minutes. So verbal, I did not face any issues with time, but quants I did face for the quants MCQ section, and this is what I did. If it's taking more than 2 minutes, like more than even 1.5 minutes, I leave that question and I'll move on to the next one.
Okay, that's good. So, can you tell a rough idea of your score per attempt?
Yeah. I remember my first 4 marks. Out of 400, I got around 170, I guess, like 160 to 170. That was my mark. And then when I started giving marks for 240, that was the pattern this year. I was getting starting, I got around 120, and towards the end, I got around 150, 160, like for 240. That was my score, like a rough score, not a perfect one. Like 140, 140 used to be my like average, 140, 150.
Also, you mentioned like in your previous answer, she mentioned that your attempt, your and time management thing will increase only when you practice a lot.
Yeah.
So that is also, don't think mocks as a like extra burden, right? So you should practice mocks so that later when you give the actual examination, it should not seem like something completely new, right? So if you're practicing with your mocks, you'll have an idea, you'll know you must have tried a lot of different strategies, in the best one which could be applied in the actual examination. So you would like to get to know about all these things, so that is why it is really important that you give your mock tests. So yeah, well, like, had you solved the previous year question papers as well?
Yeah, I did solve the 2019 and 20. Only those two were available on the official website. Like we did not have the more previous year questions. And regarding the previous year questions, Career Launcher did give the questions of like 2014 or 15. I'm not sure about the year. They did give questions of 2014 or 15 IPM. Like they did not have the full question paper, but they did give a lot of questions. And I solved 2019 and 20 paper really around 3 times, I guess. Each time my score used to increase, and then I used to see the level of difficulty. If there were 20 questions, at least 8 questions will be easy, like will be doable questions, and then at least 4 or 5 will be a very difficult question. Like that was the pattern for both the year. And as I mentioned earlier, the day before the exam, I did give 2019 and 20 paper as a mock. Like I got the feeling of a real exam, so that is really important. And regarding the previous year papers and this year paper, I would say it was difficult for quants. For verbal, I felt it was the same level as 19, 20, and 21 was the same level. But talking about the quants part, this year I felt it was really difficult than 2020. But comparing to 2019 also, I felt it was a bit difficult, but it is a debatable thing. Few people of my batch felt it was equal, but nobody felt it was lesser than 2019. Either it was equal or more than 2019.
You said that there are around 8 to 10 questions which are easy part. So, and that is actually the cutoff. Like if someone kind of completes 8 to 10 question, you kind of clear the cutoff. So a question related to cutoff, that the cutoff marks which are shared, they are usually set considering all the students who have given the examination, right? But and the cutoff is quite low, right? But the actual selection which take place of the students, that actually happens at a lot higher marks percentage than the cutoff marks. So what do you think as to if someone is just qualifying the cutoff barrier, is it enough, or should they push themselves to score higher marks, and why?
I think the cutoffs are the minimum. It's the minimum level that you should clear to get a call for personal interview. And if we see cutoffs would be some 4 questions, 5 questions, it will be 5 to 6 questions only. But the thing is, if you have cleared all the cutoffs, definitely you're going to have a call for the PI. But you're putting yourself at risk. You should have a super PI. Like there used to be no mistake. You should like ace your PI. Only then that will assure you a perfect selection. But if you are able to solve get around 10 marks more than cutoff in each section, then with that you will be at a safer side. You can have a decent PI, and then you will be like at a safer side for your final selection. So it's better, always don't aim for the cutoffs. aim for much higher than the cutoffs in your mocks. Don't have cutoffs as the thing that, okay, if I clear the cutoff, I'll see it in the first interview, because that is also very much competitive. With out of 30,000 applicants or so, 850, like this year, 850 were selected. Out of 850, only 150 will have the final selection. And all those 850 people will be the people who are aspiring to get into their dream college. So it will be really competitive in the PI round. So don't put yourself at risk at the PI level. So just aim for a higher mark than the cutoff. That will put you on a safer side.
As you said, like when you're giving your mock test, so clearing the cutoff, it is good for motivation, but you should not be like satisfied with that, right?
Satisfied, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So it is, if you're giving your mocks and you're able to, cross more than 4 to 5 questions, which is the usual cutoff. So that is good. You know that, okay, so I can now clear the cutoff. But also, as she said, that your PI should go well for that, right? And in case whatever happens in your PI, you even don't know. So it's make sure that you kind of attempt a lot number of questions, so that increase your score in the written examination. By this we have come to an end of this video, and I hope you got to know a lot of things, a lot of important and interesting things, some tips which were shared by AIR-19 of IPM 2021. And before leaving, what would you like to share some tips to some advice?
I would tell, prepare with whole of your heart. Believe that you can do it. Like, don't lose hope by seeing your marks in the starting stages. Don't let it demotivate yourself. Try again and again. Try harder. Like, put your hard work, because that is really necessary. And like, the competition is increasing in the upcoming years, as we see. Like, there are 2,000, 3,000 applicants getting increased every year. So put your full hard work into this, and you'll definitely succeed. Believe in yourself and prepare.